Hello there, my name's Scott. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the 2-cent vape safe which I received from www.epikemods.com. Before I start though, I must point out I did receive it free of charge for the purpose of conducting a review, but my opinion of the product remains true, honest and accurate as always. Okay, so the 2-cent vape safe is basically a fuse which you can attach to your battery. You then put your battery inside your device and it's going to give you that extra bit of protection against things like a hard short. Now there's a couple of things I want to make you aware of. One, it is called a 2-cent vape safe, but that is no reflection onto on the price. It is considerably more than 2 cents in cost. And the second thing is that it is a one-time use only, meaning that if the fuse does blow because your device has developed a hard short, then you will need to go out and buy a new fuse. So you may be wondering, what is a typical scenario of when having a vape safe in your device would actually be a good thing to have. And so I think the best thing to do is actually tell you about one of my own personal experiences. Now back in early 2009, I think it was, I got my first ever 6-volt device, which was the very first Prodigy that came onto the scene. I remember I got it, I charged up my batteries, put my stacked batteries into it, put the battery cap on, and at the time it used a 901 connection, so I got my 901 atomizer, screwed that onto it, pressed the button, and the atomizer didn't fire. But what did happen is that the body of the Prodigy almost immediately got sort of red hot and started emitting a very sort of nasty and strong burning electrical smell. Now in a bit of a blind panic, I quickly unscrewed the cap, took the batteries out, threw them out in the garden and left them out there for a few hours. And when I returned, the batteries had sort of swollen quite a lot and had also started to crack as well, so they was now completely and utterly sort of unusable. Now obviously what had happened there was that the Prodigy had developed like a short circuit, and it wasn't actually the Prodigy that was at fault, it was the actual atomizer. Now on the atomizer you have like a central connection, which will be the small circle in the middle. Then you have like a thin sort of rubber insulator. Then you have the outer metal sort of circle, which is the negative. Now the piece of rubber insulation had moved completely all the way over, and so basically as I screwed it onto the Prodigy, it allowed the positive and the negative connections to touch, which then obviously created a short circuit. Now if I'd had the vape safe in the Prodigy at the time, then obviously that would have tripped, that would have broken the circuit, and that should in theory have saved the batteries. Now when it comes to reviewing the vape safe, I think it's actually going to be quite a good idea to actually replicate that scenario again and set it up and try and create a hard short and see if the vape safe does actually kick in, does actually blow, and does actually sort of obviously protect my mod, my battery and my hands as well. So let's go straight ahead then and show you the vape safe in a bit more detail, and then I'll carry out a little experiment. Okay, so the vape safe comes in a small jiffy bag. You can see the vape safe there, which is attached to like a piece of card which gives you some sort of general information on how to use it and what it actually does. Now the vape safe can be used on any batteries that are either the 16 series or the 18 series, so that would be like your 18 650s, 18 350s, or your 16 490s, etc, etc. So what does the vape safe actually do? Well, it's basically a fuse. Now I'm going to go by some of the literature that comes on that sort of card and just read it out to you. It says, lithium-ion batteries, while generally described as safe, have been known to vent hot gases and in some cases explode. The leading cause of a venting battery is a hard short. The vape safe is a mechanical fuse that trips if it senses a short in a mod by shutting down the battery. The vape safe can also help protect variable voltage circuitry, hot springs and other circuitry that you would not want to be damaged because of a hard short. Now when it comes to reviewing this, I think there really is only one way of actually sort of testing whether it's any good or not, and that is to actually sort of perform an experiment by creating a hard short. So before I do that, I'm just going to quickly show you the 2 cents vape safe a little bit more sort of close up and show you how to attach it to the battery. Okay, so here we have the 2 cent vape safe, and as you can see it's just a very small disc. It's also very thin as well, And this means that you should be able to use it on any device that uses the 18 or the 16 series batteries. I would imagine though it's going to be provided that the device you're using has a spring for the battery connector, because otherwise if you're using a device which doesn't have the springs, and there are a few on the market now, and obviously when you go to screw your mod back together again once you put the battery into place, you're not going to have any play there to allow it to actually sort of close up fully. On the front you have a magnet, and this is used for attaching to the negative end of the battery. Around the outside you have all your electronics, and then on the other side you have just like a plain sort of copper or brass disc. So to attach it to your battery, all you've got to do is take the negative end and just attach it with a magnet, and that's it. You can now put it into whatever device you're going to be using. Okay, so for this test I'm going to be using my old beaten up Megalodon, and as you can see I've already got the Vape Safe attached to the negative end of my AW-IMR 18650 battery. So all I need to do now is just assemble my Don as normal, put the battery in and take the top cap and screw that into place. And now hopefully when I press the firing button you should be able to hear that the atomizer is all firing up properly. Hopefully you can hear that. Okay, so I'm going to replicate what happened basically when I was using my old Prodigy, and I'm going to be doing that by creating a hard short using a screwdriver. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the screwdriver into the centre there, making sure that the blade of the screwdriver is going to touch the middle positive connection and also touch the outer negative connection now. And then when I fire it up, that should in theory trip that switch. And then when I put the atomizer back in, it shouldn't fire up as long as that switch has actually done its job. Okay, so I'm just going to touch it both there, fire it up, and that should be enough to trigger it. So when I take the atomizer and put it back in, it shouldn't fire up now. And if it doesn't fire, then you know that the Vape Safe has done its job and it's dead. So the Vape Safe so far has actually worked exactly as intended. Okay, I just want to very quickly say that at this stage, if your device does develop a hard short and the fuse has blown, you don't want to be taking the fuse off, putting the battery back in and firing it up again. Before you do that, you also want to try and rectify what has actually created that short circuit to begin with. Once you've rectified that problem, then obviously you can carry on vaping as normal. Now I am going to be putting the battery straight back in, but that's because I know what has created the hard short, and also I'm doing this just for test purposes. Right, so the next logical step would be to make sure that the battery hasn't been damaged at all. And the way I'm going to do that is just by removing the Vape Safe, put the battery back into the Don, and then see if the atomizer will fire up. I can tell you that there's quite a strong sort of electrical burning smell that was emitted when I done that short, and I'm going to imagine it's actually coming from the like the Vape Safe fuse rather than the battery. The battery feels very nice and cold. It's not sort of heating up or anything like that, so I'm not too worried at this stage. Okay, so I'm going to remove the Vape Safe, put the battery back into mid-on, and then hopefully, as long as the battery has been protected by the Vape Safe, this should now fire up, which it does. Hopefully you can hear that. So the conclusion is then that the Vape Safe does in fact do exactly what it says on the tin, and it will protect your device, your battery, your electronics from a hard short. Okay, so that is the 2-cent Vape Safe. Now I'm not a battery expert, I've never claimed to be a battery expert. I'd say I've got a fairly good knowledge, but definitely no sort of expert status, let's put it that way. But what I can tell you is that I attached the 2-cent Vape Safe to my battery, put the battery inside my Don, created a hard short, and the 2-cent Vape Safe done exactly what it was meant to do, and that was blow to obviously break the circuit and then protect my batteries, protect my mod, and protect my old hands as well. So as far as I'm concerned, the 2-cent Vape Safe does exactly what it's meant to do, and that is offer you an extra level of protection against hard shorts. Not a lot else I can really tell you about it. So if you fancy getting one for yourself, go along to www.epipemods.com. Thank you very much for watching, and also come along and visit my website at www.e-cig-reviews.com. That's e-cig-reviews.com. Cheers guys, happy vaping, see you later.